Okay, so this is part four of the Connor McDavid on the Wichita Thunder series. Now, what I wanted to do was I wanted to see, going into this, I wanted to see someone just put up like 8 million points. And it was sort of upsetting that Connor McDavid on his own and then Connor McDavid alongside Tyler Ennis and or Raphael Lavoie was only getting 150 something points. I say quote unquote only. But I didn't come here to see the record, get beat by a little bit, get beat by a few points. I want to see the record smashed. I want to see someone put up like 250 points. So I got McDavid on the Wichita Thunder, and I put him with Leon Draisaitl. So now we've got Draisaitl and McDavid in the ECHL, and it's currently November 13th, 2022, and of course they're tearing things up. They've both played 13 games. Draisaitl has 36 points, and McDavid has 32 points. So that's where it stands so far. And Wichita is 13-0-0. So this is what I came here to do. I want to see both of them get 250 points at least, and I want to see the Wichita Thunder go 72-0-0. That's what I want to see. Let's do it. Okay, so it's currently November the 22nd, 2022, and somehow, in spite of the fact that I gave McDavid one injury proneness, he's out 3 weeks with a rotator cuff strain, and he's been placed on 21-day injury reserve. Now, up to this point, he's had 39 points in 18 games, which is good. That's a pace of about 2.17, which the pace that we need is 2.25. So it's not quite that, but it's a big improvement over where we were previously. Draisaitl, meanwhile, is currently at 45 points in 18 games, which if he can keep that up, that's a pace of 2.5 points per game, which is actually more than we need. And if he kept that up for an entire season, that would give him 180 points, which would break the record and also kind of shatter the record. But we'll see for the next 3 weeks. McDavid is not going to be playing. So we're now on January the 27th, 2023. Leon Draisaitl has 90 points in 42 games, which puts him on a pretty good a point pace of 2.14, which is still slightly below what he needs. And he also missed 2 games due to injury at some point. McDavid, meanwhile, is running at a points pace. He missed, I think, 11 games in total, and he's running at a point pace slightly below 2 points per game. Wichita had won. They won their first 19 games of the season. They lost a few when either McDavid or Draisaitl was out of the lineup, but they're still winning their division by a landslide, and of course they're the best team in the league by a considerable margin as well. And Draisaitl, by the way, also has a chance at the goal record too, which I think, if I remember right, was 93. Is that right? I'll check it later. But yeah, I'm gonna keep simming forward. So Draisaitl has reached 100 points, and the strange thing is, despite the fact that on an ECHL team we have two NHL superstars, one of which being the best player in the NHL, it's still 100 points in 48 games, which year one, McDavid reached 100 points in 47 games, and his AVR was lower than he had year two and what Draisaitl has here. In year two, McDavid got, with the help of Ennis and Lavoie, he got 100 points in 48 games, and here Draisaitl again has 100 points in 48 games. Again, there's still time down the stretch to make up ground, but they don't seem to be getting that many more points, which is strange because you'd expect a pretty substantial boost from having McDavid and Draisaitl playing together. And McDavid did miss 11 games, to be fair, but still, you'd expect this total to be higher somehow. Okay, so I went upstairs to lie down for a while. I came back, and looking at the Draisaitl and McDavid progress, Draisaitl finished with 140 points in 70 games, and McDavid got 118 in 61 games. So I feel like Draisaitl and McDavid on Wichita should be enough to get 162 points for one of them at least. But I think we need a season where they're both healthy for that to work. And also, I noticed that Wichita lost in the second round in 7 games to Tulsa. It seems like they weren't icing a full roster. I didn't pay too much attention to that just because I was aiming for point totals, and I figure if we don't have a full forward roster, I mean, our dudes might get more time on ice anyways. But they did lose in 7 games in the second round. I sent some guys down to the ECHL for next season, but I'm going to sort of run the same Draisaitl McDavid combo back and see if we can do better if they both stay healthy. I was going to set Draisaitl's injury proneness to 1, but that didn't seem to prevent McDavid from missing 3 weeks, even though his injury proneness was on the lowest possible setting. So I think I'm just going to try the same thing again and see where that gets us. And if that still doesn't work, I might send a third guy down. Like I might send Nugent Hopkins or Yamamoto, or I might sign Puljujärvi and send him back down. Um, I just want to see what it'll take to get a guy to 162 points. Okay, so what I realized is that I'm an idiot, and to circumvent the veteran rule, so I can actually get rid of the veterans that I don't need, I realized I just have to make a general manager for the Wichita Thunder. Um, and I've currently got that general manager on vacation, so it can actually sign some players for the ECHL. But if there are too many veterans, I can just get rid of the guys that I don't need. And I also started to save over. So going back to year 1, I put McDavid and Draisaitl in the ECHL. We're simming through August right now, and we'll see how that goes. Okay, so on opening night, they didn't win 8-0 against Idaho like last time, but they did win 8-5. McDavid had a goal and 3 assists for a 4-point night, and Draisaitl had a hat trick. So we're at the end of the season, and our boy played 60 games in the regular season. He ended up missing 12 due to injury, and he finished with 124 points in those 60 games, which is good for a pace of 2.07 points per game, which is still a ways off from the 2.25 that he would need to break the record. And he is 38 points off. And to get those 38 points in the 12 games that he missed, he would have needed to be on a points pace of about 3.17 points per game. So I think, which is over a point per game more than he's been on thus far in the season. So I think it's safe to say he wouldn't have gotten it even if he hadn't have missed those games due to injury. And again, this is with both McDavid and Draisaitl on the Wichita Thunder. So we could sim this over and over under the same conditions, but it seems that even having these two, top 5 players in the NHL, at least in this simulation, in this particular video game, is not going to be enough to break the record. And the other thing is, when Trevor Joby got his record, his season was so insane that he got those 161 points in only, I think, 61 or 62 games. So that's a points percentage, a points per game rate of about 2.64. So I don't know what the hell was going on in the ECHL in the 90s, but that's absolutely insane. So I think for the time being, even with the help of Draisaitl, the answer tentatively so far in Eastside Hockey Manager simulation is that McDavid cannot break the ECHL points in a season record, just because, partially because that record is just so unbelievably insane, and I have no idea how it happened in the first place. That being said, I do still want to see what it'll take to get to 162 points. So I'm thinking if I keep doing this in the future, I might give them a third teammate and just see how that goes. But for the time being, I think I'm going to end this video here. I'll sit in the playoffs later. If you want to see the ECHL standings, again, they ran away with their division. And if we look at the overall standings, again, they were far and away the best team in the league, of course. Points percentage of 0.819 when nobody else is even above 7. And they won their first 2 games in the playoffs. Again, I'll sim the rest of the playoffs later, and I'll tell you guys what happened in the next video. But that's it for now. And yeah, see ya.